Hello and welcome to the channel. Today, or rather an unspecified time ago, I went and did my discovery flight where I would actually fly, which is different from last year's discovery flight where I just sat in the back as a passenger. This time, almost a year ago, I'm going to actually fly. Yes, so right now and for the next 20 minutes of footage, I basically recorded the post-trip inspection, not post-trip inspection, pre-flight inspection. Pre-flight inspection, yes, that's what I wanted to say. I'm recording this on my Insta360 Go 3S. I have the cap mount, which is super cool for first-person views.
Okay.
And I have the action pod on a suction cup mount, a vacuum suction cup mount. You're gonna see me putting it, suction cupping it onto the side of the window. It's pretty cool. What I did not realize, cause this plane did fly almost half hour before myself and the instructor got to it, but the instructor, he's like super thorough and super professional. He redid the pre-flight inspection. The last time I did the first time I did not do my discovery flight, that plane that we flew on basically came down from a different different set of people flew it, and then we basically went up. I don't think there was a walk around or a pre-flight inspection before we went. Maybe it was done without my presence, but basically we did the inspection. Well, he did the inspection, and that took about 20 minutes. So let's skip that inspection because I did end up burning out some of the runtime of the Insta360 camera. When you have it detached from the main GoPro body looking thing, you have roughly half hour of recording. So I basically burnt out 20 minutes of that half hour, so not too proud of that. So let's skip the inspection. Let's get to takeoff.
Oh yeah, I mean, someone up around your side. Okay. So fuel tanks are here in the wings right above my head. So we sample our fuel just to make sure there's nothing significant in there.
No metal flakes, no water.
Yeah, sometimes you can have a little bit of water. Those cooling temperatures like we've been having, you can get a little bit of condensation. So there's actually a few little drops of water in there from that. So there's a few little bubbles. It's not too surprising to see a few bubbles swirling around at the bottom. That's a pretty small amount. And again, just, you know, unless the tank is 100% filled with gas, there's air in the tank.
Yeah.
There's always moisture in the air. So if you cool the temperature enough, then you're going to get that condensation. And so you can get a little bit out of that. Tire looks good.
Are you gonna put that back into the fuel, the tank?
Mostly, yeah. This has a nice little filter screen on it that actually traps water, so you could pour the whole thing back in there. I don't really quite trust it, so I don't want to pour all of it back in. So we have the elevator and rudder here, and they move like they should. So the elevator is moved by pulling the yoke back and forth, and the rudder is moved by pedals.
Yeah, what are these?
I don't grab them though. Those are static whips. So this is the trim tab over here. So this is what's moved by the little small wheel. And so that's what, basically as we spin the wheel, this deflects up or down as needed to basically try to force the elevator out of neutral. That's what applies that force for us.
And does this piece get rid of your P factor? This little curve?
Well, it compensates for left turning tendencies.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fixed tab, so it's only correct at one speed, one power setting.
Yeah.
So it's a set for whatever cruise speed and intention of it. Looks good. There are a couple things I have to reach over to get to the ignition switch, which is on the far left side there. So kind of slide your feet forward a bit. That way it drops your knees a little bit. There you go. So let's kind of reach underneath here. Doing that blind. All right, blaze around. Sitting in the water. Flaps around.
And that's, you're not gonna get any audio from that. See, I put it into my jacket and I probably press the stop button by mistake, putting it into the jacket, because I did not capture any audio from this flight. Super duper annoying. The first time I did it, it was fine, but I guess, I don't know, I did not want to leave the recorder on the floor, even though the instructor, he had a power bank on the floor. I did not want to leave it on the floor. I did not know if we were going to be doing any negative G maneuvers, any spin stalls or anything like that, but I don't like loose things in the cockpit. Basically, you don't want anything loose in the cockpit, and I did not want to leave it on the dash nor on the floor, so I put it in my pocket. and it stopped recording, so no audio. We're probably gonna get audio taxiing, but you're not gonna hear anything once we take off. So I'll probably be narrating and telling you what's going on, and it's gonna be a lot shorter because it's not nothing. I can't recreate the essence and the professionalism of the instructor. The instructor was really good. I mean, I did not dare tell him that I'm a flight simulator pilot, flight simulator veteran pilot. So I basically know, well, not know. I have a very good knowledge of what's going on. So I just let him, explain everything. It was pretty cool hearing his explanations. During the inspection, he explained what all the switches do, all the gauges, all the steam gauges. He explained all of that. He explained the pedals, the ailerons, everything. If you're a total aviation beginner, he could quickly bring you up to speed. During the engine starts, he was telling me about moving my knees so that he can get access. He can pull the yoke back and have more throws.
Takeoff issues, I can check it over. Have your feet a little bit farther forward.
Yeah, there we go.
Controls are all free, correct? Instruments,
Bro is on it.
and we have some things we checked over with the engine. We kind of rev up to about 17.
Okay, this is our run up.
Then you have the door hanging out and that, right? Yes. Have that closed. Windows closed.
By the way, this flight was conducted out of Freeway Airport in Bowie, Maryland. Well, depending on which year you look at it, it's either Bowie, Maryland or Mitchellville, Maryland. It changes every couple of years because of gerrymandering slash some sort of shenanigans, redrawing district lines for. I'm not quite sure. They change it ever so often. So this is Freeway out of Bowie. I know it as Bowie. It's probably Mitchellville. Who knows? Yeah, we flying boys. We airborne front seat. Yeah, this was cool. And I guess now is where I'll be cutting up the video because you're not gonna hear any of his explanations. So I'm just gonna cut to what is pertinent to the flight. So this flight is gonna be from Lee Airport. We're gonna fly down to not Lee Airport, sorry, Freeway Airport, not Lee. Lee Airport is in Edgewater, and that is where I did my discovery flight last year. I did not do my discovery flight last year. So this is Freeway, and we went from Freeway, we flew south towards the Equestrian Center. We got within 2 miles of the Equestrian Center because Andrews Air Force Base is like super duper close there, so you don't want to go that close. So we flew within 2 miles of the Equestrian Center, and I didn't see squat, so that was a bust. And then we flew north towards the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, and I think I'll cut the video and I'll pick up to me getting some stick time and heading towards the Bay Bridge, because going towards the Equestrian Center was kind of a bust video wise, because I could not, there wasn't anything I could recognize. The only thing that was kind of cool visually on the way there was seeing solar farms. I was like, oh, we have that here. That's pretty cool. So let's cut, and then we'll come back to me getting some stick time. Alright, so we are approaching the Bay Bridge. We are flying over Edgewater, Maryland right now, and I am struggling to get the phone to focus on the Bay Bridge itself. I think I'm actually getting the phone to focus on the smudges on the windscreen instead of the Bay Bridge, so I'm putting that away. It's a bit upsetting. So let's go. Bay Bridge. Let's see. Man, I'm so annoyed that the audio was not recorded, because bro was very proficient as an instructor. Like he's really good. I did also want to mention that I did not have my feet on the pedals. I was just basically banking and yanking. Alright, so where are we right now? Oh, I think he's mentioning that Annapolis is over there somewhere. No, I don't think over there is Annapolis. I think Annapolis is on this peninsula further up. This might be... Yeah, no, I don't recognize that. So further up is going to be Eastport, and then a little bit more. Then the next peninsula over is going to be Annapolis. Well, Eastport is in Annapolis. Eastport is a neighborhood in Annapolis I used to work at, like, what, 2 years ago? Working up and down Eastport. I know Eastport almost like the back of my hand. I know Eastport more than I do my own neighborhood. Yeah, the turbulence was not too bad, but it was strange. You know, you're holding the airplane straight and we're just yawing all over the place. Again, my feet were not on the pedals. I was just focusing on keeping the plane straight and level. Kind of challenging. The instructor is kind of a bigger dude, so I'm holding a lot of left aileron to maintain straight and level. Dude's very super professional, man. Oh yes, Naval Academy. That's what I pointed out. Now do I look over there some more to see the Naval Academy? Yes, no, maybe so. I also used to work on the Naval Academy. That was always fun. Naval Academy, then I'm downtown Annapolis. Oh, guess which job I have that has me working on the Naval Academy, esports, and downtown Annapolis. Leave it in the comment section down below if you know. Alright, and those two big antenna towers, those are the NSA outposts in Annapolis. I think it's literally called NSA Annapolis. Alright, and that's the Bay Bridge, man. An icon. First time I drove over the Bay Bridge, didn't even recognize I was going across the Bay Bridge. I was like, oh, is that what this is? And I ended up recording it. One thing that really gets me about the Bay Bridge is that it turns. And of course, I've been driving over high span bridges before, but bridges, they're straight. Over the water, they're straight. They go in a straight line, shortest distance from A to B. But this bridge turns, and that threw me for a loop. The bridge also has some very interesting lane control systems. So depending on time of day and how much traffic you're expecting, you can be the bridge that that causeway on the right. You can have traffic going, what's that, west to east on that right causeway, and you can have on the left causeway, which will have traffic coming from Kent Island to Annapolis. You can have one lane of traffic also going across. So you can have like the causeway on the right going to Kent Island, and you can have one lane on the left going to Kent Island. All depends on traffic. I must admit, I did not hold a straight line going towards the Bay Bridge. I'm a bit annoyed about that, but then again, it's not like I'm being graded or he gave me a particular heading to focus on. If he said fly heading so and so, I try my darndest to do that. Alright, look at that. See, he gave me hand signals, and that's good for the video too because I did not capture audio. Hand signals, so turn to the left, go more over the bay, and here I went, more over the bay. Look at that. It's almost as if you're flying over the open ocean. This Chesapeake Bay is huge. Look at my turn slip indicator and look at my vertical speed indicator, because I was on it. Again, I don't think the instructor was grading me or anything, but I was on it. Yeah, okay, so we had the plane trimmed out. I think that's what he's explaining here. Alright, so right now I'm putting the little bean thing from the Insta360 Go 3 back into the action pod, because I suspect that the battery is running low. So if you have the bean thing out and the battery runs low and you put it into the action pod, it would not charge up, but instead the action pod would keep feeding the bean thing power so you can keep recording. So that's cool, but I can't pull out the action pod. I can't pull out the bean thing after, like, let's say 20 minutes, put it back on my cap, and gain more recording time per se. I definitely should have turned off the stabilization. I hate having the horizon locked and having everything move around it. That's so disorienting. I'm a Flight Simulator 10 guy. I'm accustomed to, if you have locked cameras on, like let's say your tail or your wing or your vertical stabilizer, you have it locked, so the plane or the inside stays still and the world outside moves. Look at that turn. Look at my vertical speed indicator. See, I'm on it. I was focused. Check ride me please right now. Okay, so here I'm asking what's the difference between the compass on top and the compass at the bottom, because they were not aligned. I forgot his answer, but he basically said the one on top is not very good in turns. It's not accurate in turns. And the one at the bottom, it drifts ever so often, so you have to reset it. So I'm sure I'll learn a bit more once I actually start flying and getting to know the airplane. So we're flying south on Love Point. This is Love Point on Kent Island, Stevensville. That's Love Point right there. I know it also well from my job. Okay, I had to stop talking really quickly because I wasn't sure if that was a jump cut or if the video that was recorded stopped and started back. Because even if you record on this camera for more than 30 minutes, each video file will be a maximum of 30 minutes long. So you can record for however long you want, but you will get your files in 30-minute increments, 30-minute maximum increments. Alright, you see that yellow stuff in the water? I suspect that is pollen. This is October, so I'm not quite sure why there's so much pollen in the water. But when was that? Spring going across the bridge, or going near water at all, you could see all the pollen in the water. That was an incredible sight. This is probably super late in the video to say this, but I want to say that the GPS in this airplane reminds me a lot of the GPS from Flight Simulator 10. Like, I want to go back in Flight Simulator 10. Well, I probably will, and just play around with the GPS so I could get, because I think it's the same. I think it's the same Garmin GPS G100 or whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks the same. It has the same. It's pretty much the same. This airplane is an old airplane too. Alright, Bay Ridge Airport. As I said in the other time I attempted to do my discovery flights, an auto gyro flies out of Bay Ridge Airport. If I ever decide to get an easy pass, I want to do a helicopter check ride over here, because they do learn to fly. They do helicopter piloting schools. Wow, I can't talk. They do helicopter flight lessons out of that airport. Alright, and this is Stevensville. We are somewhat heading towards Roman Coke. There's that straight, not horizontal, not perpendicular plowed field there. That is possibly Kenmore Airport. It's a private airstrip with houses on the airstrip, so they're not hangars, they're houses, and people can just open up their garage, taxi their Piper Cubs out to the airport, to the airstrip, and you can take off and fly around there. That's pretty cool. I've also been down there, and they do have Piper Cubs. I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I did ask why the ships are aligned the way they are. I was asking if the ships were aligned into the wind. Oh yes, I'm asking right now. That's pretty cool. I remembered. Yeah, the ships, they're all pointing in one particular direction, so I'm like, are they facing into the wind? And the instructor, he did not know, because the wind was not coming from the direction the ships were pointing in. The wind was coming from a different direction. So he didn't know. I didn't know either. A little bit of curiosity at wonder here. Okay, we're heading back towards Annapolis now. That is those two towers, as I said, NSC Annapolis. On the left side of that bay basin, probably B, that is the United States Naval Academy, and on the other peninsula, on that side, is Eastport. Alright, right about now, framed up perfectly in the window, is the United States Naval Academy. My nose is probably over the Severn River Bridge. Okay, the Severn River Bridge is coming into view right now. It's a pretty bridge, more more better looking from the ground, or closer to the ground. Okay, so you guys know that this voiceover is being recorded as I rewatch this me doing the flight, right? So I'm gonna overlay some of the video that I took. I'm only gonna overlay the video of the Naval Academy because that looks sweet. I'm only gonna overlay that video. So you're probably gonna see that video and then you're gonna hear me saying, oh, I'm gonna overlay the video. So right now I'm looking for Lee Airport. I was asking where Lee Airport was because people were doing pattern work out of Lee Airport. Pattern work? No, they were flying out of Lee Airport. That there is Solomon's Island Road, and that goes over that particular river there. I don't know what that is. Don't remember. Then we're looking for traffic going into Lee Airport, and what I tell you, plane spotting from the air is both mesmerizing and terrifying at the same time, because at one moment, if the sun catches the light just right, you can your other air traffic can stand out like a beacon. And other times you just don't see them. You just would not see them. So I am super locked in. I'm like, I think I did see them and then I lost them. I'm like, okay buddy, you can stop looking. You can stop looking across. I'm sure you saw them by now. I was locked in. I was like, I saw you, but I don't see you anymore. I suppose watching for traffic, that is also a learned skill. Same way like looking for airports, or identifying airports from the sky. Because I can tell you, from FSX, the airport runways, they kind of glow. So you could spot a runway from miles and miles away. In Microsoft Flight Simulator, the one that came after FSX, it's a bit more realistic, and I'm like, whoa, I can't see anything. Alright, so we're heading back towards Lee Airport here. We're gonna cut the video, and then we're gonna come back just before we land, because our landing approach was interesting. Okay, I just cut a little bit out, almost like 20 seconds, but here was what was interesting about our landing approach. So coming towards the airport, there was a helicopter in the pattern going to land. The helicopter just landed on the runway and was just sitting there. And we were trying to figure out if how long the helicopters would sit there. And since that was not particularly clear to us, the instructor decided to just extend our downwind. So I think here is where we are doing our downwind leg. My head is on a swivel. I'm looking at everything. I'm a tourist, just left, right, look at everything. But I'm not a child, so I'm not touching everything, so that is good. I'm looking at everything. I think I just pointed because I saw the helicopter, and we're extending our downwind until the helicopter leaves. Alright, and here I decided to take out the action pod thing. I did not remember that the action pod does not charge up the beam thing, so we're at like 4% right now. Yeah, we're extending our downwind, and yep. Oh, I'm keeping on the helicopter to see when it would take off. I don't think this camera could see it. I was just eyeballing it. The instructor was explaining that this is a normal occurrence. Sometimes they would do touch and go, sometimes they would just sit on the runway. All depends. Now we're turning back. Now this is our base turn. Yes, this is our base turn, and the camera will die in 3, 2, 1, 1.5. No. Alright, so I just restarted the camera. So on this approach, the final, we are not perfectly aligned with the center line of the runway. We are actually approaching from the left because there are power lines on the right. Not clearing, that is high voltage power lines over there. Not only are they power lines, but to the right of those power lines, that is the freeze, the FRZ. That is basically where you do not want to fly into. That is like super duper controlled airspace around Washington DC. Actually, on the map, there's a little cutout for Freeway Airport here. So you have to approach from the left of the runway, and then just before we land, the pilot's going to make some adjustments. I just remarked that hitting the full flaps was like slamming on the brakes because we decelerated super quickly. Okay, sterile cockpit now for landing. I know what's up, but the instructor did not say sterile cockpit. Did not explain that before we landed, so I just instinctively knew to shut up just before we land. Alright, and we're back. Alright, so here he explained that the steering is a bit wonky because you steer with your feet. Student pilots have issues with ground taxiing because you steer with your feet. Jeez, I could just barely hear him. And it's
take some back and forth movements, or just even holding a lot of rudder and foot one way or another to go straight at times. Also, brakes are separate.
and that's where I noticed that I did not get any audio. I was like, oh my god. This was where my heart sank. After that moment there, I did not want to. I was like, let's not. I was defeated, bro. I was defeated. I want to like chat up the folks, either the instructor or the receptionist, airport receptionist. I'm not sure what his job is. I want to like, you know, what are the next steps? What are the next steps? I did find out that to get my student pilot's license, I would need like proof of citizenship and something else. I think like a passport and my ID, and they can get that done for me. The medical, I only need the medical once I'm getting my check ride, so I did not need to get the medical right away. But yeah, at this point I was like super bummed out. I was like, alright, let me just pay for the flights and go home, because I was done. Good grief. This flight was on the
So of course we're getting out.
22nd.
Open your doors. Kind of hold it as you open it, because the wind may want to try to blow it open. We don't want it sliding open. And then you can unbuckle your seatbelt and then lift the handle up to slide back to your seat there. That way it's all the way back. Actually, you can slide back another inch or so.
Alright, that was my discovery flight, y'all. Yeah, this video was shot on the 22nd. I could have edited it and uploaded it on the 22nd of October, but once I realized that the audio was no good, like, I was defeated. I was defeated, depressed. I did not want to do anything else. I just organized the footage and just put it away. I was done, man. But yeah, that's why I'm doing the voiceover. Alright, shout out to Freeway Airport, shout out to my instructor. Super duper professional. Only pointer is that when it was time to hand over controls, he did not say your controls, my controls. But then again, I'm not a student pilot, so I don't think he would have. Well, he didn't explain that terminology, And well, I guess I did not ask, but I did not get to feel the rudder pedals when he was talking about the rudder pedals. That would have been the perfect time to be like, okay, you want to take over the rudder pedals? Just push the right pedal very slowly and we could do some taxi work. Other than that, this was a pretty good experience. Oh, and except for my audio recorder not working, this was a pretty cool experience. Time to get my student pilot license now, I guess. I'm gonna keep doing that online ground school. Then I'll get my student pilot license. But that's it for today's video. That was shot literally a week ago. Thanks for watching. Bye.